Yo, dude. What's
What is,
good?
what is up, my dude?
Whew, not much, baby, not much. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We're recording. It's late. It's 9, almost 10 o'clock.
It is. This is the one of the latest ones we've ever done, I think.
I like a nice late night, just chat over some good shows that we're watching.
That's right.
And tonight we're talking what if.
What if what?
Hey, we will do that joke only one time. So for those of you who are like, please don't do it again. Yeah, well, welcome to our show today. This is the Pixelists podcast where we talk about our favorite shows, movies, games. We keep joking about we need to have a game we talk about because we've never talked about a game.
Yeah. We actually
Even though
haven't
we
talked about a movie either.
that's true. Talk about only our favorite shows apparently.
Yeah.
And I'm Blake,
Oh, and I'm Will.
and we're the Pixelists, and we
Hello.
want to welcome you to the Pixelist journey. Where we just sit and we're a couple of nerds who talk about some of our favorite things in the shows we're watching, and we also really talk about what the heck's going on and kind of spout our own nonsense and theories. So, welcome to the journey. Glad to have you here today.
Yes, yes, hello. Ugh.
Yeah,
And
and
no, go ahead. Sorry.
no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what if episode 3? It is very interesting. I'm excited to talk to you about it.
I'm excited too, and it's fun because I don't know if this will be the case. How many episodes are there, by the way?
I I think 9 because there was supposed to be 10, but one got cut. I think because I didn't finish or something. So I
So
think 9.
we'll get into it, but it feels like each episode is getting more drastic. I guess the stakes are getting higher. Whereas I feel like the first episode was kind of a nice little tweak
Mm-hmm.
of Captain Carter, and it's like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And we talked about episode 2 and kind of the implications of the end of that episode,
Right.
and 3 also was pretty wild. So
Yeah. Pretty drastic change. Which hey, I guess we're getting into it. So let's just dive into it. Episode 3. I'll give I actually don't remember the title. I don't know if that probably is.
it was what if I think it was something like what if Earth lost its mightiest heroes
Okay.
or something like that.
Yeah. So essentially, that's what happened. It's basically a play on Fury's Big Week, which is just a reference to the fact that Thor, Iron Man 2, and Hulk all take place in the same week in the MCU. But so here, episode 3 is basically just about essentially what would happen if instead of what we know to have happened in the MSU, the MCU, Iron Man was killed, Thor is killed by an arrow, Hawkeye is killed in a prison cell, and Hulk explodes, and Black Widow is also murdered while investigating all of those other murders. Basically, what would happen there? And so the episode plays out. We get to see each of the Avengers I just mentioned dying, and Nick Fury's trying to piece it together. He ultimately teams up with Loki, who has come to Earth in order to avenge Thor, who was killed.
Begrudgingly teams
Yeah,
up.
yes, very much
It's like
so.
do this or else.
Well, I will take over your planet, which he still. We'll get to there.
Yeah,
We'll get to
yeah, we'll
that.
get to it.
So they team up, and ultimately, Fury and Loki together are able to outsmart, outwit, and defeat Hank Pym, who ends up being the master behind all of these murders, who is killing the Avengers basically out of spite, out of anger, out of revenge, because his daughter, we find out in this universe, worked for Nick Fury, worked for S.H.I.E.L.D., and she was actually killed. And so Hank Pym, that does not sit well with him, and he decides to exact his revenge by killing Earth's mightiest heroes. And like I said, Loki and Fury actually get the better of him and defeat him, and the episode ends with seemingly Loki, I think, has decided, like, you know what, I like Earth, and is kind of staying there, not to Fury's enjoyment. And so Fury uses a little beeper from that we've seen in the MCU to call Captain Marvel, and she shows up right as Nick Fury is also seemingly going to free Captain America from the
Mhm.
ice. And yeah, that was pretty much it. And the broad strokes, unless I missed something you wanted to add.
No, I mean, I'm ready to get in and talk about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing how much it feels like was in the episode when these episodes are typically about half an hour long. I think the runtime's like maybe 33 minutes.
Yeah.
Or that was this episode. I think they're all around that time schedule. But yeah, this was a wild episode. I- I've mentioned this in the first couple of episodes, but my wife and I are watching through the whole MCU again.
Yeah.
We shamefully skipped Hulk because it's not on Disney Plus. But it's just so great. This stuff's all top of mind for me.
Hmm.
Just the throwbacks to the actual film. So like Hulk on the catwalk, whatever area,
Yeah.
and all the
Yeah.
tanks and stuff. I mean, that was a scene from the Hulk movie where they
Right.
pull up to take him on on that college campus. You have I think it's Iron Man. I think it's after he's just fought Rhodey at like his party mansion or whatever, or at his house at the party or whatever. And then the
Yeah.
next morning he's hungover, he's eating the
In the
donuts.
donut. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like that scene. I mean, it's just fun to like see these things that we know, these iconic scenes, with a different spin on it. So
Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually jealous that you're kind of getting that fresh since you have been rewatching it. I've been meaning to start a rewatch as well with my girlfriend because you've inspired me. But yeah, so I'm super jealous you're kind of getting to pick up probably on like way more nuance than me, having not seen some of those movies in years.
yeah, I mean it's yeah, I mean it's just kind of like stuff you're just like, oh, that's familiar. For me, we goose over the MCU team every week, but it's attention to detail. It's detail they don't have to do, and they do it. I think of one of the biggest accolades that like the Mandalorian's gotten, for example, is that it's really obvious that its producers love Star Wars, and there's
Yes.
tons of like one of my favorite episodes from season 2, where they're talking about burning Khan, which apparently was a thing that happened in the canon of the Star Wars universe, and
Hmm.
they basically took that detail and built it out to something more meaningful. Our MCU producers do the same thing. I mean, they take these iconic scenes and these moments that we remember, but we don't really necessarily think they're going to come up again,
Yeah.
and they're just like, "Hey, fans, we like you guys. We want you guys to keep enjoying the show." So
Which what a just common sense thing that goes such a long way. And I mean, at least you'd think it was common sense, but a lot of
well,
franchises,
yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, yeah, it's tough to not be. I think anyone who consumes media long term, like you've been like watching shows for a long time, I think it's hard not to be cynical, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about Breaking Bad. I mean, Breaking Bad got so many accolades. One, for being an amazing show, but two, it being ended after season 5 or part 2 of season 5.
Right.
And there were conversations around like, yeah, we could have taken this 3 or 4 more seasons, but this was the ending of it. And so I think anytime it is common sense, but I think we're faced with so much like just make another movie, just put out
Yeah.
another season. It's going to make so much money that I think we as fans really appreciate it when people, there's intentionality there.
Yeah. Well said. And just to harp on that again, it makes me so happy when shows end when there's a story you're telling and you tell that story and you don't flex, you don't wring it dry just
Right.
for money, aka hey, Showtime every single one of your shows that they just get every last drop out.
Yeah.
But anyway,
There
I digress.
there is no Dexter season. What was
Ugh,
it? Season 5 was
bro,
the good one,
it's
or season
coming
3?
back. Do you know that?
I watched the trailer.
I mean, I'm
Our
gonna
viewers are
watch it.
Oh yeah, totally, of course. Our viewers are like, what is this? What are we doing here? We're just harping on shows.
Right,
We're
right.
getting back to the point. What if it's a show that makes you smile? And something that made me smile was seeing all the Avengers being systematically murdered one by one. So
Bro, what? So I this is kind of odd for me, but because especially because we do this podcast, we're huge fans of the MCU. I'm usually like my ear to the ground of like what to expect. Like, oh, there's going to be 9 episodes, 4 about T'Challa, all that stuff. But I've been kind of trying to stay in the dark for What If, to at least to some extent, just because I don't know. I think with the way the show works, it's almost even kind of it's like
It's the design of the show,
Right. I
like the
think it.
surprise factor of like what like today, what if?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, because of that, I had no idea what was coming in this episode. So when Tony Stark died, I was like, "Whoa! Like, where's this episode about to go?" So this, just to me, especially, was just crazy, and I loved that we got to see all the Avengers die.
Okay,
I,
so sorry, go ahead.
no. That was pretty much the whole thought.
So let's talk about what were the most shocking moments from this episode? I think I have two in my mind. One, so Tony Stark, yeah, falling
Yeah,
over dead. That was just crazy to me.
yeah.
The second, like, oh my gosh, is when Hulk
Hulk, yeah,
got when he exploded.
for sure.
And I like turned to my wife and I was like, oh my gosh, like what? I mean, I don't know. What were your most shocking moments?
Exactly what you just said. And I at first laughed when Tony Stark fell because I thought he was like just I thought he was
Yeah.
like memeing, like, "Oh, you killed me." And then when he was actually dead, I
Nope.
was like, "Oh, okay."
Fury's like, you almost got me. She's like,
Yeah.
no, he's
No,
dead.
sir, he's dead. Uh, so that one, and then like, yeah, not to just copy you, but Hulk for sure. That, and I mean, it's Disney Plus, so I think they kind of tried to, not be ultimately gory, but
Yeah.
I think that he essentially like those were his
Yeah, I
organs,
mean,
and
his was definitely the most visceral of the deaths. Black Widow got beat to death, so I mean
yeah.
that one was like, eesh. I didn't realize that Thor could die to Hawkeye's arrow.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because I too was confused, and I assumed that Hank Pym was small and did something, but then when that moment is revealed, it's just that Hank Pym like makes him unleash the arrow, right? So like, was there something special about that arrow? Like Thor can just
Yeah,
get killed?
part of me wonders. I mean, if we think about this, back to the Thor movie, obviously he can't pick up the hammer. He's able to fight through the guards, which in hindsight could be he's just a normal human, but he's fought in all these other battles, so he's
Right.
obviously very experienced. And then when he tries to fight the Vault Guardian, whatever it's called, it backhands him, and he's like covered in blood, like on the brink of death, basically. So it could be that he was effectively mortal when Odin took the power from him.
Yeah,
So
that makes
maybe that's
sense.
why. I don't know.
That's at least good enough for me. He was kind of his powers were kind of waning, trying to be worthy of them again. Um, and then how did Hawkeye die? Did they have like actually like reveal what Hank did to him? Or
Yeah, it was a real quick cut. He like jumped in his ear and I guess scrambled his brain. I mean,
uh,
we didn't get any more than that. It just shows him like hopping in, like this
uh,
little menace, and then hopping out as he falls over, I guess. Which what a way to go. And can we
uh,
talk for a second about I love like the meme territory here of like the answer for Thanos is just have Ant-Man like fly up his butt.
yes.
I mean, this felt like a nice little like, hey, actually, there's some legitimacy there. Ant-Man actually is the most. I mean, is he the most powerful Avenger?
I guess it at least has the potential to be because they also killed Hulk, which is like seeming like Hulk's like unkillable, seems like, but they came up with a pretty creative way to just enlarge his heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But yeah, Hank Pym put on a clinic, which really cool that I thought that Michael Douglas came back for this. And again, pretty much everyone in this episode except for Tony, except for Iron Man, Black Widow, and I think Thor, everyone else was like their same voice actor. Samuel Jackson came back. Clark Gregg was I can't remember his name right now.
Steve,
The
Steve,
the
Steve.
Shield agent. Yeah,
Yeah, Steve. I love Steve.
yeah. Which, not to jump around here, but it is interesting that I mean, not that it not that it needed to be connected universe wise, but this is obviously a different timeline than Captain Carter that we've seen because
Right.
Steve is Captain America in this one. Um, but yeah, Hank Pym. Oh, I thought like oh yeah, that's where I was. So I thought it was cool. Michael Douglas came back and thought it was just really cool to see him play this kind of like more
Grief struck.
sinister. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know, evil. I don't know if evil's. I mean, I guess he is evil. He brutally murdered a bunch of people. Version of the character because like in the comics, Hank Pym's kind of a shitty person. So like it's more in line,
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
with his character than the version we've seen in the movies so far. Um,
Okay. Interesting. Well,
yeah.
and it was a cool detail because the whole time I'm looking for like what's the like one variation that's causing the butterfly effect,
Mm,
trying to figure out like what exactly is it. And so I guess in this universe, Hope's been recruited by Shield and eventually dies, and that is the detail that sets Hank Pym off, puts him on his revenge tour, and essentially leads to we hear the Loki speech from Avengers
yeah.
whenever he's at like the gala or like the museum or what have you. So he gives the speech and in front of the UN in this case, and it looks very bleak for
Yeah.
Earth. But here's a cool detail though. So like they're treating What If as canon, right? In like the sense of like it's
Right.
not like you know but so what's interesting is without the what's the word? The TVA getting involved, it's interesting that he does have an outcome that he becomes
Oh,
uh
like
where he
ruler.
doesn't yeah. Now we
Yeah.
don't know if Captain Marvel and Captain America will be able to defeat him, but it is interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure.
Where he was
And
designed to lose previously by the
right,
Avengers.
right, because Kang was a big jealous doo doo brain, but he's gone now, at least for now. Um, but yeah, and oh, what was I gonna say? There's one other thing on Hank Pym. Oh yeah, I thought it was interesting that he was wearing not Ant-Man's costume, but the Yellow Jacket.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
And so I was wondering what was up with that. Like maybe, I mean,
Well,
maybe just like
how,
an aesthetic, but
how did the Yellow Jacket uniform come about?
I think they were just trying to like emulate the Ant-Man tech. And so I mean, I think that
Right.
was just their version of it. At least in the
Yeah.
MCU, it was like that other business guy, the other business dude that was
But it
just.
like originated from his like schematics or plans or blueprints or
Oh
something,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Actually, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, okay. It's definitely like a more hostile version of the Ant-Man outfit.
Yeah,
But yeah, I didn't actually pick up on that detail that you're right. It was that uniform as
hmm
opposed to the original Ant-Man one.
yeah. So I don't know if there's like more to that, or if it's just kind of like an aesthetic choice that he's more evil here. That was the evil one we're familiar with. But I thought it was super cool how Loki disguised as Nick Fury just kind of like beat his ass. I remember when he first like grabbed the punch or whatever the first move was. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
I was like, oh shit, this it's Loki. Um,
Yeah, and it's cool how and I love how you mentioned how the events of this episode are all these other events happening simultaneously. Because I was trying to piece I was like, well, why is Loki here? Because shouldn't he have been lost at when the what's it called? The bridge gets
the
destroyed.
Bifrost
The
or something
Bifrost
like
before they
that.
rebuild it. And then I realized you're right. It's happening during the movie Thor. So the Bifrost gets destroyed at the end of it, and Thor isn't there to come back and essentially stop him. A couple other details that are interesting. So we know that Odin is in his Odin sleep during this
Hmm.
time.
Yeah,
Or we assume at least.
right.
We also know that the frost giants are scheming in some way. Now, interestingly enough, in the Thor movie, Loki goes and strikes a deal with them to sort of like um, solidify his power in Asgard. I wonder if now those events don't happen at all. I mean, if he just kind of ignores the frost giants entirely and just goes full fledged, I'm going to run
Yeah.
Earth now.
Was it since you've seen this more recently? Was it the is the deal he makes with the Frost Giants the one where he double crosses them to like end up looking like a hero, or was that
Yeah.
something else? Okay.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, that is. I wonder. I don't know
And he
because
has their, you know,
oh yeah, the cube
a
thing.
frost box.
Which at first I thought that was the Tesseract, and then I remembered that
Yeah.
it was its own thing because I was like, "Whoa, I didn't know the Tesseract could make glaciers." But alas, it was not. Um, but so yeah, and just to to circle back around, I just loved the fact and the creative like use of the combination of powers there, where the misdirect with Loki being uh Fury, and I just thought it was cool how like they interlaced both Tom Hiddleston's laugh and Samuel L. Jackson's laugh, and like in like the reveal moment. I just thought it was very nicely done. And the so while we're on the Loki thing, he seemingly, decides, oh, I like Earth. I'm gonna stay longer. Do you think that that is why he ends up like going to get both the captains, as it were? And
Yeah,
like,
I think he's forming the resistance, so to speak.
so like, yeah, like
It's
the new Avengers, I guess, or something.
essentially, yeah. I mean, they're looking over the coffins of the what would have been the Avengers, and I think it's Coulson says something like, um, I can't remember the phrasing, but it's basically like, you know, we're out of options or something, and he says something like, they're we're gonna go get who we have to get or something to that effect,
Yeah,
and then we see him going to, you know, wiping away the
the
ice from
ice.
the
Yeah,
shield, and then obviously uh, Captain Marvel showing up and kind of tightening her gloves. Which that's interesting. I would be interested to see if toe to toe Loki versus Captain Marvel, what would happen there.
yeah. I mean, seemingly she would destroy him, but maybe not. I mean, especially with the TVA Loki we saw, he's a little bit more powerful than we knew. That would be interesting. I would love to just see the captains together. Like, I think that would be an
Right.
interesting dynamic. But it was also interesting that, and this, I don't know, maybe this is just pure speculation territory that we shouldn't stay too long in. But why Captain America wasn't already out of the ice? Why wasn't? Because he was by that point, right?
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
wonder, I wonder what the difference there was.
Yeah. Let's think about this. Yeah, I don't know because yeah, because he's basically training by himself, waiting for his first mission.
Yeah,
Whenever the events of the Avengers rolls around.
because they didn't like he just was found. They didn't like in the MCU. I mean, like, and that's why he came out. Not that like they went to go thaw him on purpose for something, right?
It's before. It would have to be before because the events of Iron Man 2, he gets picked up off the donut basically, and he was like, "I don't want to join your stupid club." They have a conversation, and then at the end of the movie, um, they reject him and they say, "Hey, your eval, it's not going to work for us."
Right.
Um, and then later on, as the Avengers are getting put together, that's when he's taken out. What's his name? Captain America gets taken out of the ice.
Okay.
So they haven't taken him out of the ice yet. I don't even know if they've discovered him yet. Um, but he
Interesting.
seems to know where to go. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So I wonder if the implication is that they knew Cap was in the ice like the whole time, like in the MCU, not What If, and they just like got him out when they wanted to, which is kind of interesting, kind of messed up if so.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
And I mean, I kind of wonder the other implications of, you know, what about who's the bad guy in Iron Man 3? Guy Pierce. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
if
yeah,
these heroes aren't there to like stop their individual, bad guys in their movies. Um,
right. I this universe is way off kilter from what we're used to, so it'll be which maybe Loki kills all of them, if he's the one in charge now. I don't know.
maybe.
Um, one other the one other thing is so Hope Van Dyne, Shield agent, which and of course this isn't going to help my point here because I don't remember the details, but the mission she's killed on or whatever. I want to say this might be wrong, but I want to say it was something about Tibet maybe or something. Whatever it was, the implication I believe that people have picked up on and is going around is that the Winter Soldier is the one that killed her because that's the same mission that Scarlett Johansson Black Widow refers to, and I think the Winter Soldier movie about how like he's a ghost, and she like lifts up her shirt and there's a bullet hole, and she's like, I was guarding a target in Tibet or whatever it was, and I got between the bullet or something. So I feel like the implication here was like that same thing happened, but Hope died, whereas Black Widow survived, which I thought was a really interesting kind of Easter egg, or maybe
Yeah,
even more than an Easter egg if we return to this. But
that's a wild detail, and it's definitely more believable to me than like the Loki meteor whatever spec thing that you liked, which apparently is like confirmed now. So I'm just gonna trust whatever you whatever you come up with at this point.
wait,
Uh,
are you talking about when we thought that they
or the
were?
spaceship or
Oh,
something.
the
I can't
spaceship,
remember
the
what it
spaceship.
was.
Okay, yeah. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, so I wish I actually knew the exact details to make that point more cogently, but
Yeah,
that's the best as I
no,
got.
that's
But
cool.
I thought that was neat,
Yeah,
really
were
neat.
there were there other Easter eggs in this episode?
I mean, there definitely were. I
Proceeds to name none. Oh yeah, most definitely, definitely.
listen, it's late, you know. Um, no, but I mean, yeah, I don't have a good one to flesh that out with, but I mean, I definitely remember. I mean, we kind of already talked about it, like just the allusions to scenes we've already seen, like with the donut and stuff. There were a few. Oh, like it kept alluding to like the famous speech from the Avengers. Like there was an idea.
Hmm.
That
Right.
whatever the rest of the speech was.
Do you think right now everything's been from phase one and phase two? I mean, kind of origin stories
Yeah.
from the MCU. Do you think that's going to continue to be the case, or you think we're going to see, what if they couldn't reverse the snap? Things like that.
I think yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really think about it how we've had everything's been kind of early so far. But yeah, I think so, especially because like with the rules we've been presented with the multiverse that basically like everything's happening at the same time, that there's no real reason why they couldn't do something that was like, as recent as Spider-Man No Way Home or whatever like the most recent thing is at the time. Um
Here's what could really blow our mind is, I mean, there's so many opportunities in the future with Kang, is having like a movie or like a storyline take place in one of the Kang variants' timeline, and it be the timeline we've seen in a What If episode.
Yeah, dude, I think that'd be awesome. I think there's gonna be crossover. I don't know when, where, but I absolutely hope they do stuff like that because I mean they've been making everything they've been saying, talking about how it's canon and everything, seems to point in that direction, or else why would they, even bother saying stuff like that? Um, so yeah, I mean I think we could definitely get some more recent MCU stuff. I know that again without like spoiling anything. I know like kind of some ideas of what we're supposed to be getting for episodes, so I wouldn't be surprised if um even soon we got that kind of stuff. Which I think the next one's supposed to be the Doctor Strange episode, which I'm pretty
Okay.
excited for. I don't know if that might be wrong, but for some reason I think that. So
Yeah, like you, I've pretty much stayed totally in the dark. I don't even know what any episode is about other than just like we turn it on and it's like, oh, that's what this is about. Okay, cool. And we said this already. I feel like that's kind of the intentionality. It's like the surprise factor a bit,
yeah, it's more fun to do it that way.
for sure.
At least I think. Um, so what else? Do you have anything else on this one? I'm trying to think of. I'm just still stuck on the Easter eggs because I know there was other ones.
Yeah, it felt like I don't know if there's less like the theory craft about it, but
Yeah,
it was definitely just like a I don't know. It kind of just blows my mind. I keep trying to wrap my head around, so if Loki is there, he doesn't meet up with Thanos, so Thanos doesn't send him off to retrieve uh which stone is he retrieving?
the Tesseract or the Mind
Yeah.
Stone, the one in the staff.
He has the Mind Stone. It's given to him. The
Okay.
scepter.
Yeah, so
He's
then
going to
he's
get the
the
Tesseract,
Tesseract,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So does he? He doesn't even know about the Tesseract. Interestingly enough, and so I just think about what are the implications from then on out. So
Yeah, and we've kind of talked about this in our other episodes, but I would love to get a continuation of any of the ones we've seen so far. Like I would love to revisit it and kind of see some of the further down ripple effects of these timeline changes we're seeing. So I don't know if we're gonna get that, but I hope we do.
we've talked about how well done the other shows have been, and we know that only Loki has a confirmed season 2.
Right.
Such a bummer because I loved WandaVision, but no season 2 confirmed. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but it seems like if it was going to happen, they'd announce it by now. Is there a what if season 2 that's confirmed?
Yes, there is. That is, they have confirmed this as well because, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this was supposed to be 10 eps, but they had to cut it down to 9 because one of them wasn't going to be finished in time, and so they explicitly said like we're just moving that episode to season 2. So there
Okay.
will be a season 2 of this confirmed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to talk about?
Um. No, I mean
Just
I
about your
think
day in general, or
I had a nice sandwich. But no,
nice.
I mean that was no. I mean I think we pretty much covered it. Like you said, I mean we could go out, we could go for the next 2 hours just wildly speculating against different ripple effects. But I think we hit the big things I kind of wanted to wax poetically on.
So we're 3 episodes deep. Where does this fall? Is this the best,
Ooh,
the worst, or I mean, none of them have been the worst, but
right.
how would you rank your 3 so far?
I think episode 2 is still my favorite. Just because I thought it was so cool to like after the expectations that were kind of set with episode 1, not in terms of quality, but in just terms of like scope, I guess. The fact that
Yeah.
we got galactic and these massive sweeping changes. We see Thanos as a good guy, basically. That one still is edging episode 3 out for me. But so far, I'd probably say 2, 3, and then 1 in my order of best to worsts. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say the same. Yeah, I'd say episode 2 is the best so far for sure. And there's just so many great little flavor bits in that second episode.
Mm-hmm.
The third one was good, but also a little bit of similar ground that we've been over.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to episode 1, which I would say episode 1 is the perfect introduction episode. It's very tame,
Yeah.
and it's almost a shot by shot recreation of the first Avenger. So
Yeah. So I
so
mean,
yeah,
so far so good for me with What If. Like I'm enjoying it. I look forward to every next one. Which since we're recording this a little late, I think. Wait, no, it's not tomorrow, but we're 2 days away
a couple days out.
from
Yep,
the new one.
yep, yep. And for our viewers, let us know which episode you loving. What are some of your favorite details that you've picked up on? Explore with us, talk with us, because we'd love to also see some of the awesome stuff that you're picking up on, and just enjoying the show with us. So, anything else you want to add, Will?
No, I don't think so. You pretty much covered it, and as always, you can find us on YouTube, which is probably where you are, and then we're also on Twitter at PXLISTS, so at PXLists. So feel free to chirp at your theories and stuff at us there as well.
Of course. Thumbnail. What
Oh
are we
yeah.
doing?
Oh. Hmm. I don't know. You got anything?
I'm thinking kind of like a shock and awe of seeing your favorite heroes dead. Like kind of like a. I'm thinking like a like this, or
Okay.
like a,
Okay.
or like
All right.
All
Yeah.
right, cool.
All right. Which
All
one are
right,
you going with?
I'm gonna do it with the third one because that's definitely what I was doing when the Hulk exploded.
Okay. So you
So
ready?
yeah.
Okay. I think that was pretty good.
I do these only for the thumbnail.
That's
So
the best part.
of course. Well, and also, by the way, guys, if you've been following us, you've just checked out our Marvel content. We love talking some D&D shenanigans, and
Mm.
we'll be putting out our Exandria Unlimited series wrap up. Which it's not too late to watch the show. You can find it on the Critical Role YouTube channel, and then come back over here to our house and check out our episode 1 deep dive. And we'll be topping off that series here really in a couple days.
Yeah, I'm excited for that as well. It's had some time to
Okay.
marinate, so I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to diving into
Yeah.
that one last time with you.
All right. Well, that's it.
That's all, folks. Oh, I
Thanks.
just dropped a deck of cards.
Nice. Thanks for checking us out. We'll catch you later. See
Bye,
ya.
y'all.